previous graduates. One thing comes in.
And now I'd like to introduce the undergraduate student speaker, Jonah Lalas, BA 2002 International Development Studies. Jonah is also a double major in political science. He completed regional specializations in South and Southeast Asia and in Sub-Saharan Africa. He's graduating summa cum laude, the highest honor a graduate can achieve for academic excellence. Jonah Lalas.
Before I begin, I'd like to give a shout out to the class of 2002. Right now, before I begin my speech, I'd like to take this moment to recognize three individuals who could not make it today, very distinguished professors, Professor Joshua Moldavin, George Letty, and Joseph Nevins. Their excellence in teaching has contributed a lot to interdisciplinary and international studies. However, unfortunately, they're no longer here with us at UCLA. But let's just take this moment to give them a round of applause. Now, I want to speak today not just as an IDS student, but as a person part of international studies. And I want to pose a few simple questions. What is it that makes international studies unique? And what have we learned from the thousands of pages of notes, readings, and research papers all through these last few years? Now, as we look back at the pages of the past, we see the many struggles in different parts of the world that people have undergone, from peasants in China to indigenous groups in Latin America. We learn not only the culture and its written traditions, but also the legacy of colonialism and the oppressive regimes that stifle the will of the people and their human rights. So what do we do? Well, from the pages of the past, we learn, we feel, we wake up, and we realize we're in Westwood. So what have we learned from the pages of the present? Well, we see a world that has undergone many changes. We see a world shocked, confused, and angered by the September 11 attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. And we find ourselves amidst Bush's war on terrorism, innocent people being slaughtered in Israel, Palestine, Afghanistan, the Philippines, India, and Colombia, among others. Now, the pages of the present remind us that the suffering that we learn about in the pages of the past may not be so distant. So again, what do? We learn, we feel, we wake up to a nice cup of coffee at Laval Commons. But I want to pose a challenge to each and every one of you as graduating seniors of international studies. I challenge you not only to learn, feel, and wake up, but to act. As international studies majors, we are in a unique position to not only know about international events and histories, but to be able to tie them to our local experiences and local events. We are privileged to have this education. But sometimes, knowing about the world can feel like a burden. It is a burden because it hurts. And it causes us to feel guilty about what we own, what we eat, what we do on weekends, knowing that there are other people in the world who do not even have access to the basic human needs that we take for granted that everyone deserves. For knowledge is not only power, it is pain. But that is where the challenge lies. What do we do with this knowledge? What do we do with this pain? Now, the pages of the past and the present are filled with many injustices. But what about the pages of the future? For that future is not yet written. But where are those writers? Well, they are in non-governmental institutions trying to empower local communities. They are working for governmental institutions, trying to change the system from within. They are in the field of Chiapas, fighting for recognition, respect, and dignity. And they are in classrooms, not only doing research, but teaching and reaching out to their students. And many of those writers are in this area today, because there is power right here. Now, a lot of us have learned to live by the motto, think globally, act locally. But as international studies majors, I challenge you to raise the bar and not only think globally, locally, but act globally. For that future is not yet written, but our minds are the pens, our hearts are the hands, and the world is our paper. May we come out of here ready to transform the pages of the future and make it a more just world where human rights exist not only for the few, but for